This video will show you how to replace the serpentine belt tensioner on a Mitsubishi Lancer. This will be located on the passenger side of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. To gain access to our serpentine belt and tensioner, we're going to remove our coolant reservoir. As far as removing this overflow tank, we want to start with the overflow hose leading to it. Typically, the clamp can be squeezed by hand. You can also use pliers if necessary. Just go ahead and gently squeeze that. We'll lift it up and out of place, and then we can also remove the hose. That should slide out of place as well. A gentle squeeze, confirming it's not damaged in any way. Now we're moving along to the hardware. We'll be using a 12mm for our one mounting bolt here. Take hold of your overflow and lift it up and out of position. Be aware of the coolant located inside as you set this aside. Now we can see our serpentine belt clearly. It makes its way over some pulleys and under others. We want to pay attention to the orientation and the routing of it. Just take quick note. Continuing on, we're looking for the tensioner. Now, as far as the tensioner is concerned, we can see the idler pulley right up along this area, just underneath our power steering pump pulley. As we continue down and diagonally rearward, you can see our tensioner pulley right along this area. We're going to be using a serpentine belt removal tool. You can use either a 16mm or a 5/8. We're going to be turning this counterclockwise to release tension from the belt, and we can slide the belt off of our idler pulley right along here. Just be aware of any pinch points. Remove our tool. We're going to remove all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts and get the wheel off of here. Now that we have the wheel off, we have a clear view of our passenger side lower engine splash shield right along this area here. There is some hardware up along the top, but let's start down along the bottom. I'm going to start right along the back corner here. We're going to be removing push clips. Typically for push clips, it's going to start with the center. You can either push it in or carefully pull it out depending on the push clip itself. Once you've done that, it should be in the unlocked position and you can start removing it. That one's a push in. Pull that out of there. Just going to reset that. This one looks like it's ready to come out. Let's get this one over here next. Get that one out of there. We finished with the lower hardware. Now we're up along the top of this panel. We're making our way across. We have 3 more push clips that need to be removed. If your push clip comes apart, you should be able to just gently press it together, but leave it in the unlocked position for installation. Moving along, our next push clip here. And now we have our last push clip. This one's pressed into our inside fender liner. I'm just going to separate this area. Now at this point, we should be able to remove our engine splash shield. Just go ahead and give it a wiggle and we'll pull it out of place. Now that we have that panel out of the way, we have a clear view of our crank pulley. As we make our way up and forward diagonally, we have an idler pulley, and then straight up in between those two, this is where you're going to find the tensioner. From under this area, we have to gain access to our lower mounting bolt on that tensioner itself, and that's tucked behind this idler pulley. So we're using a 16mm to loosen our mounting bolt, holding that in place so we can remove it. There we are. That's a captured bolt. It should be attached to that idler pulley. Just a quick inspection and we'll set both of those aside. Now we're looking up underneath this tensioner inside of this area next. Now up inside this area, we're going to be using our 12mm to start removing that mounting bolt here. There's our mounting bolt. Just a quick inspection of that. Now I can see that my belt is running along my pulley here. Obviously we don't want it in that position, so I'm just going to move it out of that position. There we are. Now we can gain access to the next mounting bolt. We've done this one down here. The next one's just above it, up above this portion of the tensioner. It's fairly difficult to see from under this area, but if you were looking at this tab on the tensioner, it's pretty much aligned with it. We can see the tensioner is moving around a little bit here. This is a good sign. All right, get the bolt out of here. Now we can remove that tensioner. There it is, friend. Now, prior to installation of any brand new part, of course, we're going to make sure we clean and inspect our mounting surface. For this, I'm just going to use a clean rag. We want to make sure there's no raised areas. All right, now it's time to install the brand new serpentine belt tensioner. We'll make sure we have it in the proper orientation. Bringing this into the engine compartment, of course, we will have to pivot it, just as we did for the removal process. This can take several attempts, just be patient. There we are. Now we're going to start with our lower mounting bolt here. I already have it on my socket. It just makes it a little easier to reach into this area. Now for installing most mounting hardware, you typically want to leave it loose. As for this mounting bolt, I want to have it so it's pretty much snug, but I still want to be able to move that tensioner around enough to align my mounting bolt. We just want to make sure it can't actually rock away from the engine. Let's get that upper mounting bolt in there next. Once again, I'm still using it directly on my socket. It just makes it a little easier to get up inside this area. We'll maneuver this tensioner around as necessary. The bolts are started in and snug. I'm going to be torquing them to 17 foot-pounds. Double check to make sure that's completely seated. Now we can install our idler pulley. Once you have it snug, the torque for that is 36 foot-pounds. Now it's time to start situating our serpentine belt. This is going to be done partially from down here and also from up top. We have it across all of our pulleys. We're making our way to the last two. We have our power steering pump pulley up along the top, which is ribbed. And then we also have our idler pulley right up along here. You can see it slide right on there. Now, as far as this tensioner, you can see that we have this small pin in here. That's the reason why we could easily slide the belt into place. We're going to be using our serpentine belt tool. We'll be pivoting this counterclockwise just a smidge and carefully remove that pin. Let's get our tool on there. See, it can only go so far. We're going to be very careful for any pinch points. I'll be using some long nose pliers. There we are. Let's go ahead and release that tensioner now. We can remove our tool. Before we go any further, we need to check the belt routing and make sure it's seated properly on each and every one of the pulleys, especially the pulleys that have the ribs. If it's off by even one tooth on that ribbed area, it can cause damage to the belt or something else. Now we can reinstall our coolant overflow. Looking at this, we can tell that we have one locating tab. It has a small rubber grommet. Looking down at the body of the vehicle, you can see the port where that needs to align. We'll bring this down into position here. We're aligning it with the body. Now we have the mounting bolt port up along this upper corner here. Start that in and snug it up. Now it's time for the overflow hose. Just going to take this, we'll slide it right onto the overflow as far as possible. Clamp it down. If your clamp is weak or damaged and it needs to be replaced, you can also use a wire tie. We need to make sure this hose is properly secured. Now it's time to install our passenger side lower engine splash shield. Now as we bring this into position, we're paying attention up along the top first. On the rearward corner, you're going to find that you have this small area. The notch goes on the inboard side. Just gently flex it over there. We'll continue on by pressing this up so we can gain access to our two mounting points up along the top here. Just gently flex all other shields as necessary. We'll continue bringing this over. Now we need to flex this portion up and above our other shields. It sits up along the top. Swing this over. Make sure it's still aligned. Goes behind there. Right up here. We'll install these push clips up along the top area. Now moving just forward and down from there, we have another area for a push clip. We'll drive that in as well. Now we're done in the wheel well as far as this panel is concerned, so we're making our way underneath. This is where we have several more areas for push clips. We'll align the push pins with their corresponding ports, lock them in. If you needed to, typically you can reach up through the panel. There. Now let's get ready to install our front wheel. We'll get it in position, start on all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts, we'll bottom them out. After that, we'll get the wheel back on the ground and we're going to torque each of these lug nuts to 80 foot-pounds. We've got the wheel back on the ground. We're going to be torquing each of these lug nuts in a crisscross manner to that 80 foot-pounds. Torqued. Okay, friend, we've got our vehicle back together. The next thing we have to do is make our way into the passenger compartment. You're going to start the vehicle, turn it off after 5 seconds. Make your way back out here and triple check the belt. We need to make sure we're seated over each and every one of our pulleys properly. Otherwise, you could cause damage to your belt or something else. Be aware of that. Aside from that, assuming it's good, go ahead and close the hood and then take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.